tonight we're doing a very special thing, simply because number one, it was a great interview with Andi Buerger, author of A Fragile Thread of Hope: One Survivor's Quest to Rescue. Definitely go to our website, go to Amazon, get the book. 45% of the proceeds go directly to Beulah's Place. Make sure that you do that tonight. Do it for the Christmas holiday season. Even if you don't get it on Christmas Day, you will get it in time to read it for the new year. Go directly to their website, beulahsplace.org. Uh, but huge night tonight because Jeff Dove is with us. Jeff Dove happens to be not only a former U.S. Army soldier, but as well, he is running for U.S. House of Representatives out of Fairfax County, Virginia. A godly man, a good man, and a man who understands that our nation is under assault and his commonwealth is under assault as well. Jeff Dove, it's a tremendous honor and pleasure to have you here with us tonight.
Thanks for having me on again.
Jeff, you're running for the House of Representatives, the U.S. Congress. Why would you want to be a part of such a group of people that just went out of their way to prosecute uh, feloniously the President of the United States without a glib of evidence?
I believe you asked me a similar question last year about why I wanted to run for Congress.
Yeah.
Um, this time, I feel like there's a lot of unfinished business. I was able to build a pretty big grassroots base, not just locally but around the country. So this time, I'm running in the 10th congressional district. I was about five different counties: Prince William County, Fairfax County, Loudoun County, Clark, and Frederick. And I think the president's message, as well as the message of the conservatives or the Republican Party, resonates throughout the district. Actually,
Are you finding that people? I know in southern Prince William County, the Manassas region, people are lit in the Commonwealth. I don't know so much in the northern part, Fairfax on. But if you would, can you be our thermometer for the Commonwealth? Exactly how are they feeling about their governor and also about the President of the United States of America?
well, let's see. The governor, had his situation start back in February, not only with the blackface or him being in a KKK hood, but him talking about murdering babies after they were born.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you personally, I actually went to a protest in April where it was the craziest thing I had ever seen before. We had people of every ideology you can think of. We had Black Lives Matter, we had pro life groups, we had the Republican Party of Fairfax, Loudoun County, NAACPs from both counties, so many different groups on the ideological spectrum, all there to protest one man, Ralph Northam. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And so I know that there is common ground to be found with all
Yeah.
these groups. And I think this governor has, overplayed his hand. And you've already seen 90 plus counties have already called themselves sanctuary counties for guns or the
Yeah.
Second Amendment sanctuary counties.
Yeah.
So
See, but Jeff,
I
this
don't
is
think
what the
this.
this is what the American people are misunderstanding about the Commonwealth at this point. You have 90 counties and a number of cities. Culpeper, just on Thursday night, joined that particular group of sanctuary cities. But you vote in a Democrat governor, a Democrat lieutenant governor, a Democrat attorney general. You all are sending us mixed signals in our relationship with the Commonwealth, man. What's going on?
So Virginia is a perfect microcosm of what the country would be without an electoral college,
Wow.
right? So you have, I mean, probably 100 counties that are red,
Yeah.
pure red, and you have about five that are deep blue, and those deep blue counties dictate who runs the state.
Wow.
And it's basically if you're running statewide, as these Senate candidates are next year against Senator Warner, you're going to have to get at least 40% in those blue counties. If you get 40% in those blue counties as a Republican, you win. You win the state,
Yeah.
no question. So
You
that's the hard part is getting above that 40%
and see,
threshold.
these were concerns in the last election, and you mentioned earlier how you have to reach out to independents. Uh, my executive producer is an independent in Prince William County. Um, what do you say to her to get her off of the stump to vote for a Republican like you?
So one of the things I did a lot was I just was myself.
Yeah,
I was getting talking points from different consultants and the party and all these different things. That's not me.
yeah,
And that doesn't actually resonate with the voters. They
hmm,
want you to be real with them. They want you to actually tell them the truth. And so that's what I did. And I found that, I could go into a debate where it was a hostile environment like the League of Women Voters, where it's pretty much 100% Democrat. And people come to me after the debate and be like, wow, I'm voting for you.
yeah. So here
And
goes.
it goes,
Let me go through a series of these particular issues to
yep.
address. Number one, especially for women, how can you support Donald Trump when he wants to grab someone's vagina?
So one of the things that I've noticed about dealings with the president or explaining how I can support the president is a lot of people are not concerned necessarily with his policies.
Mm-hmm.
They're just concerned with how he carries himself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what you have to get people to understand is, or get people to focus on, is the actual accomplishments and the policies that are making a difference in people's lives every day. I actually had a discussion with a big group of fraternity members from black fraternities, the Kappas, the Iota, etc. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the things was they said, "How is it?" They asked me, "Is it hard to be a black Republican?" And I said, "No. Why would it be?" And
Mm-hmm.
they asked, they talked about the president. I said, "What do you have? What issue do you have with the president?" And they just said how he talked. And I said, "So you don't have a problem with the policies, right?" No, we're getting more money. Uh, there's more jobs. No, we don't have a problem with that. So that's where the disconnect is. And I think I was just at an event with Black Voices for Trump over the week. I mean, earlier this week, and one of
Yes.
the things we talked about was focusing on the accomplishments of this president and making sure
Mm-hmm.
people realize what the accomplishments are.
Now,
This president is a showman, right?
yeah.
He's been on TV for 30, 40 years, so you have to kind of throw out some of the stuff that's said and focus on the actions and
Well,
what's actually being done.
let me go to an issue in New York, okay? Because once you become a congressman, it's not just the Commonwealth; it's the whole country. There's an
Yep.
issue in New York that may come under court cease and desist, and that's giving illegal aliens driver's licenses, which basically gives them the opportunity to vote in elections. What can you do as a congressman to stop such actions in the states?
So I've talked about it before. I've come up with various policies on how to address fraud as it relates with social security numbers, and enhancing e-verify and making sure that's working properly. I, I've talked to. It's interesting. You brought up the license situation, and I was talking to quite a few Democrats about this particular issue,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't even agree on it because honestly, how does it make any sense? You
Mm-hmm.
have someone that's not providing any documentation getting a license. How does
So,
that even? First of all, how does that even work? Can I go and just be like, "Hey, my name is Jake. I need a driver's license." Is that how it works now? So they can't even explain how it works. They can't even explain why it's needed. We
mm-hmm.
know why it's needed. It's needed so they can game the system to get more voters.
Exactly.
And
Now,
so, I'm all about eliminating fraud and addressing immigration issues through digital means now.
Jeff,
in order to
there,
solve a lot of problems. Yes.
there you have the Democrats who said took a president during the presidential debate. All of them raised their hands, including the shy Joe Biden, raised his hand and said that if elected to the presidency, they would assure that illegal aliens got free health care. What can you do to stop that from happening? Is that a concern for people in Prince William, Fairfax County, and other areas of Northern Virginia?
So what's happening right now in that particular primary is they are uh, focused on that 15% of their base that is the most vocal, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's 15% on each side that is very vocal. We all know those people. But then there's the 70% that's kind of in the middle and kind of just living their lives. But when you bring up issues like that,
Mm-hmm.
they are completely against it. So
Exactly.
if we actually explained what free college meant and what free healthcare meant for illegal immigrants and who was actually going to pay for it, that turns people off.
Exactly.
And you saw how Elizabeth Warren took a dip in the polls as soon as people started asking her how she's going to pay for stuff,
Yeah. Exactly.
and
Because
she had no answer.
you got to tax the rich, which are the middle class and the poor.
Exactly.
That's the only way you can pay for it. Jeff Dove, running for U.S. Congress out of the 10th congressional district. Jeff, other concerns with building the wall. We now have federal judges who are beginning to say we will intervene next year if necessary to slow down the building of the wall. Is the wall necessary, and do you support it? Do you have other policies that you would like to implement?
I mean, I think it is. I think it is effective. We've seen that it's been effective in the places that it's actually worked. Now we can go back to the Secure Fence Act of 2006 and see that both sides were for building fencing and concrete barriers, et cetera, et cetera. But the reason why that failed was the fencing that they chose was pretty cheap
Yeah.
and was breached over 200,000 times. So that started adding up when it came to costs.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about dealing with immigration, like I said, what I want to do is add multi-factor authentication to social security numbers. I want to ramp up e-verify. I want to make sure that people who are here, that have been here for a long time, and we know how long they've been here, are fined for the amount of time that they've been here because they probably are working.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to recoup some of that money as well. I feel like there's so many bipartisan tools that people would agree to address immigration issues. I know there are Democrats out there that have gone through the legal immigration system and do not want to see everybody given a free pass.
Exactly. Jeff Dove, got to ask you regarding the Second Amendment. Your governor declared war on those who wish to protect themselves. He declared open war on those who want to keep their guns, virtually saying he would go as far as to have the National Guard go into people's homes and seize their guns. Are you supportive of Dr. Northam, or are you supportive of John Russell and others who are coming forward and saying, hey, we want to be sanctuary cities and you have the right to be deputized to carry a gun?
I've been supportive of the Second Amendment since day one. I was actually uh, given an A grade by the NRA last cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am against all these red flag laws and all these things that sound good in theory, right? There's a lot of
Yep.
things that sound good in theory. It'd be great if we could, limit people who we know have severe mental issues that are a danger to themselves and others from getting weapons. That'd be great. But the thing is, when you implement red flag laws or things like that, you're trampling on the Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah.
But people don't think about that. The governor is talking about getting the National Guard to turn on the citizens of Virginia. Good luck with that. Okay,
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, all these gun confiscation policies. Look at New Zealand as an example. New Zealand, they talking about all the guns were banned and all the people turned in their guns. All the people did not turn in their
Nope.
guns. They banned those weapons, but they didn't get a lot of them back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just because you just this is the reason. This is the reason why Beto O'Rourke is no longer in the presidential race. He said he was going to come and take everybody's guns. Bye bye, Beto.
Do you
You see,
believe
this
that
is a lame duck governor trying to do something crazy.
do you believe that the federal government has a right in various states, meaning to take their gun with them wherever they go? Do you believe that the state should be banned pretty much from putting in limits for someone to carry a gun?
I think the federal government should be, I mean, should allow for there to be carry across all 50 states.
There you go.
And that's, I mean, I've already come on and said that before. I don't think people should be limited. I don't think the Second Amendment should be infringed upon. I don't think any of the amendments of the Constitution should be infringed upon. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. The Democratic Party is constantly looking at the Constitution as a suggestion
Yes.
and not the law of the land. Look at what's going on with the impeachment. They're treating it like it's a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
High crimes, misdemeanors, no crime presented, and they still impeached our president.
Next year, Jeff, the rest of Obamacare goes on the books. All of the regulations for Obamacare. We had a Republican Congress that did nothing, didn't stop it. You have a Republican Senate that the best thing they could do was implement or forgive me, uh, delay the individual mandate. It's virtually a delay because they wiped it out to zero now. Anyone can come behind them and put it back in place. What can you do if you go to Congress to are you supportive of Obamacare? And if not, what would you do to stop Obamacare?
No, I've talked about repealing Obamacare for the past 2 years, so I'm willing to still repeal it. It's just we need to figure out what we're going to put in its place now because you've got too many people that have already signed up. So it's just a matter of basically fixing a broken system that they put in place to try and make people even more dependent on the government.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
individual mandate was just ruled unconstitutional by a small court in I can't remember the state now. It was just
Yeah,
a day or so ago.
exactly.
So we'll see where that goes going forward. But
Impeach.
I don't see Obamacare surviving past this next session of Congress.
Well, we will hope that you will be able to make it there to stop it, but completely. And while there are propositions for a national catastrophic insurance program, that's exactly what Obamacare replaced. It was already on the books. Um, Got to ask you in terms of first, thank God for your service to our country, Jeff, as always, being a U.S. Army soldier. But
Thank you.
when it comes to our veterans, are we getting the best deal possible? Are you getting the best deal possible, and how can you help veterans?
So one of the things that I've been talking about for a while now is I feel like Veterans Affairs has so many issues from the top down, and the president has done a good job of trying to get good people in there to start working on the issues that it's had at the top. But you
Mm-hmm.
can go to individual facilities. Like I've gone to the one in DC. You can see the IG report about the facility in DC and see how they had issues with roaches and uh, things that were supposed to be sanitized not being sanitized and things of that nature. The trouble started at the top and it trickled all the way down to the bottom levels and it hasn't been resolved at the bottom levels.
Yeah,
So even so you change the leadership, we still haven't seen a fix. I talk to veterans all the time that are my friends that I served with, and nobody has a positive response or things. Nobody has positive things to say about their experience with the VA.
yeah.
That shouldn't be the case. Me personally, I don't necessarily have positive experience with the VA,
See,
and so
yeah,
I would look to just change the mentality that's there. When a lot of times when we go to the VA, veterans feel like they are treated as the problem
Yeah,
when they go. So that's something that I would love to address. That's a top down thing. There's systematic issues that are wrong with the Veterans Affairs Association or Veterans Association.
Jeff Dove running for U.S. Congress. Jeff, Fairfax County ain't necessarily a red county, uh, and you feel a great deal of opposition there. What is it that you can do to win Fairfax County without negating support from Prince William County?
So the biggest thing, the 10th congressional district, the majority of the county is Loudoun County. Fairfax is part of it. What
Yeah,
I'll say is Fairfax County, Loudoun County, Prince William County, they're all pretty blue, but you have to be able to talk to everyone and go everywhere in
yeah,
the district. One of the things that limited me last time was I wasn't able to get my message out as much as I wanted to. Yeah, I was able to raise enough money to get on TV and had radio ads and things of that nature. But it's not just that. You have to have the boots on the ground. One of the things that the Democratic Party does great is they pay people to come in and knock doors and get people out to vote.
yep,
So if you're a candidate in an area like this, in an area that's a pretty blue, dark purple area, you have to get enough money to be able to bring people in to go and knock doors and be at the polling places and out registering people to vote. Because one of the things that I saw just driving around the district in 2019, I drove from McLean to West Virginia through through Winchester, through
yep.
Prince William County. I drove all around the district, and one of the things I saw at each of the polling places was the Democratic Party had at least 4 volunteers at every polling place. Didn't matter how remote the place was, they had at least four, and they were all handing out sample ballots. The
Exactly.
Republican Party had a few volunteers, maybe a volunteer, maybe two, maybe not. Maybe the sample ballots were just sitting there. But I can tell you for a fact, when I went
Mm-hmm.
into the polling places and I voted myself, I saw people look at those ballots and say, "Who am I going to vote for?"
Yeah,
So we need to be at all those places in order to win. We can't be complacent. We have to play a different game than we've been doing in Virginia for the past 10 years now because we haven't even won statewide since 2009.
Jeff, it is an incredibly remarkable story. You would never think, going all the way back to George Washington, you would never think that Virginia will be referred to as a blue state. Here's my question for you, and I've had this question for other Virginia representatives, individuals who are running for Congress who've come on, and even John Russell from Culpeper, who was on the other night. When are you all going to stand up and say the GOP in Virginia is freaking broken and the leadership needs to step down and put in some younger faces who are willing to do the social media, who are willing to knock the doors, and who are not relying on the relationship they had with Ronald Reagan back in 1988? That's my commentary and a question form to you. Is the GOP in Virginia broken, and what should be done to fix it?
I think every organization can learn from their mistakes and try to do better. What I'll say is the state party I feel like has more of a role to play in the local elections, more so the House of Delegates and state senate races. So you see, like last year, they had a pretty big role. I would say at a federal level, you can't rely on the state party
Yeah,
to
see,
do
but Jeff,
as at any candidate.
Jeff,
You have to,
let's
yes,
not get let's not get diplomatic here, Jeff. They lost big last year, uh, and they were of no help at the federal level in 2016. Now we're coming up on 2020. You guys do need help and support. This, in my opinion, will there be a healing in the GOP? Will they support Donald Trump? Will they support you and others in a more voracious manner? or are you
So
expecting that?
I can already say, just going to the few events that I've gone to so far since November for the Trump campaign, the party has had representation there, whether it was the chairman or other people were at these events. Even the Black Voices for Trump event that I was just at in Richmond.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it's going to be driven by the national, the presidential race. Um, we'll see how much the party actually gets involved,
Yeah.
because on a congressional level, like I said, most of these campaigns, as an example, my opponent last year, yeah, he got a bunch of mailers done by the state party, but that was pretty much it. They let him, he relied on his own stuff. Now, the candidates that need help, they should be helping those candidates.
Yeah.
I also feel like there was definitely a failure where, I've been saying this for a while. We have to have somebody run in every district.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if that person is going to lose or not. People have to have a choice. There has to
Hmm.
be two choices, because if you look at Morrissey as an example, that's a person that has a criminal background that's now serving
Yeah.
in Richmond
Yeah.
because people didn't have a choice.
Yeah. And so, Jeff, this is what I'm saying. Also, the GOP. See, it would be different if you ran in Richmond or Newport News or Alexandria. People would expect for you not to win there. But people lost in Newport News. They lost in Roanoke. They lost in Roanoke. What is freaking wrong with the GOP in Virginia? And maybe I'm
So
pressing that
one,
issue too greatly.
I can tell you one thing that I personally heard, since I've been going around the state
Yeah,
with these campaigns and doing political stuff since 2017 now.
yeah,
And one of the things that I heard since 2017 is, "Oh, this election is going to be low turnout. This is going to be low turnout. We're counting on the turnout being low. Oh, it's going to rain, so not that many people are going to show up. We don't have to worry about getting our numbers too high, or worry
mm-hmm.
about talking to this many voters." I think what's happened a lot of the times is the consultants have done a disservice to the candidates by keeping them focused on supposed low turnout numbers. Okay,
Yep,
that no longer exists in this age of President Donald J. Trump. There is no such thing as low turnout. I don't ever want to hear another candidate say that again. If you
yeah,
if a candidate actually, when I was going around this year, if a
yeah,
candidate was saying there was going to be low turnout, to me, I kind of tuned them out,
yeah,
because I
exactly.
knew I knew they weren't playing the game. They weren't playing the game right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we need to start. There's no such thing as low turnout anymore, and you got to get your people out. And that's why I said there needs to be money. There needs to be people on the ground doing things. I know, as a matter of fact, the national YRs are going to come into Virginia and try to knock 500,000 doors.
Yeah,
But that's just one organization. In Virginia, you had, because we were the one state having elections. You had Planned Parenthood descend on us, and so many other organizations descend with their money and their
exactly.
people, and so it skewed what normally happens in an off election.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Jeff. I pray your success this time around, because Lord knows, Virginia, the Commonwealth, uh, is an embarrassment based on the GOP's efforts. Quality individuals like you need support from the beginning to the end, and not just monetary support. You need people who are knocking on the doors. You need people who are going to events. Uh, how can people join your organization? How can people support you? I mean, I'm not saying that you don't need money. Everybody needs money for a campaign. But how can people help you?
So real quick, I'll just give you a quick up campaign. I started this campaign in July 2019, and last cycle it took me 2 years to get to 3,000 donors. I didn't start fundraising on this campaign till September because I didn't want to affect the 2019 candidates. I
Yeah,
am already at about 4,000 donors. So
awesome.
from nationwide, so this even without the media attention that some candidates get, I've been able to build grassroots support nationally.
Hmm.
That's one thing. Another thing is, if you want to, learn more about me or sign up to volunteer or, go to any of my events that I have scheduled, you can go to my website at www.doveforcongress.com. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm very active, Jeffrey A. Dove Jr. on there. We're having a big event on February 29th at a location in Loudoun County. I will not name said location yet because I can't, but it's going to be a huge event. That's all I have to say.
Will you be a part of the lobby day on January 20th uh, in Richmond for the Second Amendment?
I may be. Well, I'll have to see.
Yeah. See, aren't you glad I put you on the spot like that? See, that's the kind of guy I
I don't have. I don't. I don't. I don't even have my calendar in front of me. I don't
am.
know.
Exactly. But Jeff, thank God for you and what you're doing. Continue to do great work. We will have you back on in the new year. Want to get your final word. Impeachment, is that going to hurt the
Okay.
Democrats in Virginia?
It's already hurting the Democrats. I've talked to some right after they announced their impeachment inquiry. I got so many emails and phone calls from Democrats that are telling me, "Oh, we just handed Trump the election.
Mm-hmm.
We just
Mm-hmm.
handed you guys the election." So they already know they have weak candidates running for president, and the only way they could try and hurt the president was to try and taint him with this impeachment that they haven't even gone through with yet officially. So
Don't you love it?
yeah,
The cowards. They did it, and now they don't want to go through with it. Ladies and
yep.
gentlemen, Jeff Dove. Jeff Dove is running for Congress out of the great Commonwealth of Virginia. It's been a great joy having you here. Want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm looking forward to you coming back to our program next year.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays with your family. Happy New Year as well. Thanks for
It's
having me on, Ken.
great having you on, Jeff. We'll talk to you next year. Ladies and
Okay, take care.
gentlemen, Jeff Dove running for Congress out of District 10. That's at Loudoun, Fairfax, Prince William. Y'all remember when Prince William was Latin American and then Corey Stewart put in those rigid requirements and then they all moved to Fairfax? Yeah. You see how that works? Immigration can't be controlled, I assure you that. We will be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after these messages.
Buy from America's number
Great
one
shift.
HVAC online retailer. Heat